guys.
Hello.
How are you, Rashed, Mohammad, Abdulrahman?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
Okay, so the Visums. Mohammad, who are you? Can you tell us more about the Visums and what are you guys all about?
So basically, the Visums is a startup led by high school students. So me and Rashed are the founders, and we would like to get to the most high school students and help them with their careers, and we would like to show them the unique careers or majors of the future, so they can be the leaders of the future. Inshallah.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, I mean, that's one of the things that we missed when we were in high school, and I know that Abdulrahman can relate to this. We really wanted help career-wise, and I think that's a great idea. I don't know. What do you think, Abdulrahman?
I think there is a huge lack of guidance for high schoolers, and the transitioning between high school and university is really hard because, as I said before, there is a lack of guidance, and high school students require more guiding and mentors to show them the way and the right path for them.
Yeah, and Mohammed, we graduated already, and I think that we can have a good talk about the career and living as a university student. So let me just give you a background about me, and then Abdulrahman can talk about himself as well. So I graduated from the University of Manchester last summer with a degree in Mechatronics Engineering. I know now that you'll be like, what is Mechatronics Engineering? Okay, we'll talk about this in depth, inshallah, soon. And I lived in the UK for 4 years alongside Abdulrahman. So Abdulrahman.
So I graduated last summer as well from the University of Manchester, and I studied chemical engineering, and I lived in UK for 4 years as well. The experience is unparalleled. It's one of the most amazing things ever. But as we said before, at the beginning, we lacked guidance. I would have loved to have someone to guide me better and to teach me from their own experience and their mistakes, because I made a lot of mistakes, but because I didn't have guidance, I made those mistakes, and now I'm like well aware of them and why did I do them. And I think I can help more people avoid those mistakes.
Yeah. So Mohammad, Rashed, tell us, what do you want to know about our experiences from being high schoolers to being students in the university and then graduating? Tell us, what are your concerns? What do you want to know about what we have been through?
There are many questions in our mind, but the most important question in my mind is, how did you adapt to the changes, like traveling to a new country or meeting new people and having new friends? How did that affect your life and your personality?
Okay, let me talk about my journey from graduating till living in the UK. So I like during my high school, I decided to study abroad for different reasons, and this is personal, depending on you if you want to study abroad or in one of our universities. It's your own choice, so I don't want to talk more about the choice. I want to talk about the experience that I've been through. So I applied for scholarships. There are so many scholarships that are available for locals. For example, the Ministry of Education scholarship, the ADNOC scholarship, ADIA scholarship, and if you do the research, and I'm sure that you will know more about other scholarships. So I chose the Ministry of Education's scholarship because it gives me more freedom after graduation to choose the path they want to go through, either by getting a job or continuing my studies. And I applied for different universities. So one of the the first thing that the scholarship would ask you to do is find a university and get an acceptance from this university, and make sure that this university is recognized by the Ministry of Education, and depending on your scholarship, it should be like one of the top 200 or top 100 or 200 in the QS ranking universities. So I chose the University of Manchester among others, and I got accepted in the University of Manchester. And I met Abdulrahman, by the way, in one of the ceremonies, graduation ceremonies. And so we talked more about our options, and we decided to go to the University of Manchester together. So we applied there, we got an acceptance, we got everything ready, and we traveled there. Our experience there, it really varies between a student and the other. What I talked about before is the same, exactly the same for Abdulrahman. And then what comes after is different between me and Abdulrahman. For me, my first stage was the foundation, just like Abdulrahman. Making friends, adapting to the lifestyle, making a routine, it all depends on you. And it's one of the challenges that would face you either here in the UAE or abroad. Having a routine, learning the language, having a life aside from the university is very important. Now, how to know the importance of these things, talking about it isn't the right way. I think experiencing these challenges would help you understand how important these challenges are. But what I can tell you about is these are the things that would shape you as a student, as a person, and these are the things that would help you adapt to any challenge in the future, either by getting a job, traveling to any other country, or facing any challenge throughout your career. And making friends, having a way to adapt to other people is an ongoing experience, and something you will learn after graduating, before graduating, within your career. So it's an ongoing process. But being abroad, being alone, is one of the hardest and best ways to enhance your social skills. It's a big challenge, but at the same time, it's the best way, from my perspective, to be a better social person. Talking about myself, I was an introvert. I'm still an introvert, but I was more of a person who's alone. It was very awkward for me to make friends. But when I was alone abroad, I really thought it's a need, because I don't have my brothers, my sisters, my father and mother to talk to. I was alone. So I had to make friends. So it was growing on me slowly that I have to open up the people, ask questions, and being more open to people from different backgrounds. So Abdulrahman, what do you think?
So I agree with what Mohammad said. The process before you start traveling, the earlier parts, it's all like the paperwork, the documentation, finding a university, getting an acceptance from a university, getting an offer, an unconditional offer. You need to meet some certain requirements. Some universities require like doing exams, interviews. Back at the time, some universities asked students to like travel to the country and get an interview and then go back and wait for a reply. So all of this process is very important, but it's kind of similar to everyone. So what differentiates my journey to Mohammad's journey is the moment we travel there. So the differences like will be clear when we went to the UK. So my path was different than his. My experience was different. It depends on the person, as he said. So I'm not an introvert and I'm not an extrovert. I'm kind of in between. I like, it depends on like the environment around me, on my mood swing ups or whatsoever. So sometimes I'm really introvert. I don't want to meet new people or whatsoever. And sometimes I'm really like on the opposite. I would like to meet new people. I would like to make new friends and whatsoever. But traveling to the UK and being alone there without your friends from school and your family especially is really challenging at the beginning. But depending on you as a person and how can you make friends easily, some people find it challenging to make new friends, and some people have ease with it. So depending on you as a person, you can meet new friends, and there are a lot of brilliant people out there. You can't imagine how amazing those friends would be like after 4 years from your graduation. I met a lot of new friends in UK, a lot of new friends in UK. It helped me during my foundation, which I think is one of the hardest years in the 4 years, because it's the year that is uncertain, like whether you are going to progress to the next year or not. The foundation year is a bit challenging, not because like it's difficult academically, but you're settling in and you need to deal with getting an offer from the university at the same time. So it's kind of academic and mental challenges at the same time. So that was a bit challenging, but I wouldn't say that it's like very hard. Overall, the experience was amazing. And from my point of view, being abroad, being alone, is very helpful. It changed me. Every single year, I've looked at myself like a year behind and said like, oh, I changed a lot. I'm not who I was a year ago. It helped me be the person I am today, and I'm proud of it. It helped me change some of my goals, some of my priorities. It helped me realize what's important and what's not important from my own perspective. So the beginning might be hard, but if you have friends supporting you back home, even back home, if you're still in contact with your friends, with your family, and they're like supporting you, it's not going to be hard for you. Yeah, that's my intake on it.
Okay, so I think that as we know, Abdulrahman, you're a chemical engineer, you studied chemical engineering, and Mohammad, you studied mechatronics engineering. Before like applying to university, did you like after applying, did you regret anything? Did you regret that you got into chemical engineering? And Mohammad, did you regret getting into mechatronics?
Okay, I guess this is a bit of a tricky question. So I don't regret choosing chemical engineering. I think it's an amazing major, but I didn't expect chemical engineering to be the thing that I studied. So I had different expectations. I had something in my mind, and then I went to study, and then it was something completely different. So there is a lack of guidance, as we mentioned before previously. So there is a lack of guidance, and I thought chemical engineering has to do more with chemistry, obviously, as the name sounds, because I was a high schooler, and what did I know back then? But when I started studying chemical engineering and going deeper and deeper, I realized that it has like a lot of physics in it as well. And it has maths, it has chemistry, but engineering in general is not like those basic school subjects that you studied, taught on their own. It's like a balance and a mixture of those like pure subjects combined together to help you get the skill set required to solve a problem. Engineering is basically, you have a problem, you need to solve it. That's the base of engineering. Chemical engineering, on the other hand, is a mixture of that, but it had a lot of physics, more than I expected. In high school, I kind of hated physics, but when I started like chemical engineering, I kind of liked the physics. Like it was interesting. It was something I really loved after I did. And I think Mohammed has a similar opinion.
Okay. Let's just give you a background on choosing a major by itself. First of all, I know where you are coming from with this question, because I think you are at the phase where, should I be an engineer? And if I'm an engineer, should I be a chemical engineer? Should I be a mechatronics engineer, electrical, electronic, mechanical? Is this the thing that I would want to do for the rest of my life? Because I had the same idea where if I'm mechanical engineer, I'll be a mechanical engineer for the rest of my life. I'll be working on this machine or on this robot or on this type of project that I'll do for the rest of my life. But the set of skills that you would get throughout university would open doors for you that you cannot see now. So the abstract idea of doing a major or doing a course or being at the university is very narrow at the stage of a high schooler. So just be open with yourself, be confident, and have enough faith in yourself and your abilities, and you will always be able to open door for yourself, even if they aren't there. So if you are a chemical engineer and you now ask me, Mohammed, is there a thing that you would regret? Of course, I wouldn't regret anything, because I have accumulated a set of skills that made me confident about myself, that if there is no path for me, I have skills, I have myself to make my own path. So don't overwhelm yourself with the idea of being in a specific cup, you know. So I'm a mechanical engineer. That mechanical engineer and this lifestyle would be mine, just like my brother or my uncle or my nephew, you know. Everyone's experience is different than the other. Now, talking about engineering and choosing a major, there are different ways to choosing a major. First, the American system and the UK system. For the UK system, you don't get to choose the subjects. You don't get to choose the program or the type of subjects that you want to do. It's more of a set program for you to go through. So if you are, let's say, a chemical engineer, this is your path throughout university. So you don't get to choose to a chemistry student, or you don't get to choose to any field that is related to your field. So depending on what you apply for, you will have some space to change between subjects. But in the American system, you'll get the chance to choose. You don't like literally. You don't have to choose your subject after during the first year or the second year. Like I know people who studied engineering and turned to finance or accounting after their second year or maybe third year. So you'll have more freedom within the American system. But with the UK system, you'll be more specialized through the things that you want to do. So for me, as a mechatronics engineer, I started doing the mechatronics subjects from day one. So I didn't do like physics, math, geology. No, from day one, I started doing mechatronics stuff. So I had like electronic designing, I had circuit design, I had electronic material subjects. So I was like hardcore engineer from day one. So depending on what you want to do, you choose the system that you want to choose. And that's a very important option you got to choose, because this is the thing that I never knew before. And I'm sure that Abdulrahman didn't know, and so many other students didn't know. So you wouldn't have such freedom in the UK system. And that's a good and bad thing at the same time, depending on what you want to do. I chose the UK system because I didn't know. But if you ask me, will you choose the UK system again? I would say yes, because it really shaped me and gave me more in-depth idea about how is it to be an engineer. So I don't regret anything. Let me tell you something. But sometimes, depending on your option, you can choose. So I was doing, I don't know, I know if you know this, but I started as electrical and electronic engineer.
I remember.
So I was lucky in our university, we have schools. So there is a chemical engineering school that has only chemical engineering. But in our school, electrical and electronic engineering, we had 3 courses actually: electronic engineering, mechatronics engineering, and mechatronics engineering. And you can change between these 3 courses within the first and half year. And then you have to stick to the course that you choose to the rest of your course. Just to justify why UK system is very concentrated within the course that you choose, because the degree would take you only 3 years to graduate. So you don't have to do like 4 or 5 years. You only have 3. If you have the foundation or A levels, or there is another
bachelor's, IB.
I think IB or something.
AP or IB.
Yeah, so you only have to do 3 years to graduate, you know, so that's something good about the UK system. So my take on this, just be confident, guys, and don't doubt yourself. If you are an electronic engineer, you will do good, and you don't have to be an electronic engineer for the rest of your life, but at the same time, do your own research. So don't be an engineer because your father is an engineer. Don't be an engineer because your friend is an engineer. Be an engineer because you want to be an engineer. And if you ask yourself, oh, how would I know if I want to be an engineer or not? I mean, there are so many ways, and one of the ways is just having this conversation with someone who have done it already. Maybe back at our time, we didn't have enough communication with other high schoolers for various reasons, but now you guys are lucky to have people around you, to have different means of social media to talk to other people. And the Ministry of Education and there are so many other platforms that are willing and trying to push you guys to choose things that are different from other people by providing contact with people who have done things that aren't usual. So, yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it, but I mean the question is very broad, Rashed and Mohammed, and we can't take this whole interview talking about this specific thing. But yes. I think that the last thing is do your homework and make sure that the thing you want to do is the thing that is good for you. Don't think it would be good for me for the rest of my life. Just think that, oh, this is cool. I want to do it, and then don't think about it later. Just see what you want to do now, and then inshallah, with the help of the people around you, you will pass through it, and you will be better and better, and you will see things that you didn't see before.
Just to follow up on what Mohammed said, which I agree with. Engineering in general, like all of the engineering subjects, like are kind of connected. So as a chemical engineer, I studied some mechanical engineering. I studied some like control systems, like electrical engineering. I studied some like robotics and stuff. I studied some biology and chemical engineering. So it has everything. And I'm sure that other engineering programs have the same thing. Like mechanicals get some, mechanical students get some chemical engineering stuff, electrical get some mechanical stuff. And like all of the engineering subjects are connected somehow. Like you wouldn't just get chemical engineering and that's it. You would get like one module or two module like subjects of different engineering programs, and you might start liking them, and it might qualify you to work in that field after you graduate, even if you are a chemical engineer. The second point is choosing between the program, the American and the UK. It's a very good point that Mohammed mentioned. You need to choose wisely. For me, I didn't know what's the difference before I went to the UK. But personally, I would recommend the UK program because I like the UK program. And if I go back 4 years from now, and I would still choose the UK program again. It's 3 years without the foundation, and you get to be an engineer from day one. Like as Mohammed mentioned, from day one, I was an engineer. I studied engineering fundamentals, thermodynamics, fluid transfer, heat transfer, and those kind of stuff from day one. I didn't get like math 1, physics 2, math 2, like those kind of American system subjects. It's very important to choose wisely. Even like the grading and the criteria is like completely different, and there is no GPA system in the UK system. So doing a research from those kind of key points like grading system, the length of study, the freedom and flexibility. For our courses, my course wasn't flexible at all. All of the subjects that we were given, we were supposed to get, except for people who would do master at the end of the bachelor. So you would finish 3 years and then you can do a master degree. And then there was some flexibility in that. That's it. But some mechanical students got like some flexibility. Some electrical, as Mohammed mentioned, you can change after a certain point within 3 different courses. But it all depends on the university. Even in the UK, there are some universities that provide you with the choices of modules. It depends from the university. It depends from school to school because every university has different schools under the university. My school was only chemical engineering, so it was very specific. Other schools in the university are, for example, the mechanical, aerospace, and civil. They are all in one school. So it might differ, like the way they deliver the course is different. So you need to do the research or contact someone who's been through it. It's a very good thing to do. And regarding choosing, so if you chose to be an electrical engineer, you wouldn't be an electrical engineer for the rest of your life if you don't want to after you graduate. University is more of getting the skills rather than the academic thing. Because if you want to do the specific academic thing that is taught to you, you would do like further studies in that subject itself. University is all about getting skills and making you ready for the jobs market and your future career.
That was some very interesting information about both the UK and US system and how you can choose the engineering field, or how all the engineering fields are connected with each other, and how, like Abdulrahman, a chemical engineer, also studied mechanical engineering. It's really interesting and very wide. I have another question regarding chemical engineering. I know that like chemical engineers do a lot of chemical stuff, and as you said, thermodynamics, heat transfer, math and physics, and many things.
Yeah.
But do chemical engineers deal with medicine or medicine manufacturing or production?
So to answer this question fairly, there is a whole field of chemical engineering called biotechnology, and there is like medicine, like within that field itself. So chemical engineering is a very broad engineering course. It has a lot of different types of fields under it. Medicine is in fact one of us, like whoever produces medicine like by mass amounts are chemical engineers. It's like a batch process. It's done by chemical engineers, but if you mean the people who create the medicine in a lab in small doses, those aren't chemical engineers. So the difference between a chemist and an engineer, so basically a chemist would create a substance, like the substance, the medicine or whatsoever. It would be created by doctors, chemists, biologists, bioengineers, or any specialist in that sort of field. Our jobs as chemical engineers is to scale this process. So they would create, for example, let's say a pill of medicine or 10 pills. How would chemical engineers scale that to a huge production scale? That's our job. So they give us the chemistry kind of information, and we take our knowledge as chemical engineers to scale it up, because scaling is not linear. So if you like add A and B, and it will give you C, adding 10A plus 10B wouldn't give you 10C in chemical engineering. It's not linear, it's different. So our job is to scale things to a bigger scale. That's a difference. As I know why you asked this question, as a high schooler, I always thought chemical engineering would do more chemistry, like create new stuff and think about those. But in reality, chemical engineering is about how to scale things up. So the chemistry information will already be given to you, and you get it from past experiences, past companies, past stuff, or even if it's new, you would get all the data. Those kind of chemistry data, you would get it. So you won't be creating medicine, you would be producing medicine.
So I've done my research, and I like read people's comments about mechatronics, and they say that after graduating, like employers are saying that they have not been specializing in a certain thing, and you like learn the electric part, the mechanical part, and I think another robotics part, and you're not specializing in a certain thing. So do you think that's a negative side effect of studying mechatronics, or do you think that a person should major in another thing and like ditch mechatronics?
Mohammed, I think it's quite the opposite. So first of all, mechatronics engineering is different between a university to the other. So some universities teach mechatronics as part of the mechanical school. So your background as a mechatronics engineer will be more of a mechanical engineer than electronic or electrical engineer. From my university, the mechatronics course was part of the electrical and electronic course. So like the main subject within our school was the electrical and electronic engineering course. So the first 1.5 years, we go through the same courses for the mechatronics, electronic, and electrical and electronic engineering. We do the same exact course. And then from this, each course branches out. For the electronic engineering, I don't really have enough background on what they did, but it's more towards electronics, let's say. So it's not very broad as much as, let's say, electrical and electronic. Now, when it comes to electrical and electronic engineering, you can branch out to have a background in communication, in energy, and telecommunication, energy. When I say energy, it's like grid power and stuff. And the third thing was more towards electronics. So it's like a mix between both. And now when it comes to mechatronics engineering, in our school, it was built around making robots. So the idea of being a mechatronics engineer is you as an engineer will be capable of making an integrated system that has a mechanical part and electronic part. So you have both things. So you have a different set of skills that would help you shape the idea of your project. I don't want to go in depth technical, but I think this will vary between a university to the other. But what brings all of this together is a very vital point, Mohammad and Rashed. And I'm sure Abdulrahman would agree that after you graduate from university, you will gain a huge set of skills. But what you will use in your real life, personally, in career-wise or academically, will vary. So let's say when I graduate, I want to do my own startup. So there's a huge different set of skills that you want to learn by yourself after you graduate. If you want to continue as an academically, so master's, PhD, whatever, there is a different things that you want to do, such as choosing a path that you want to do. For example, so as a mechatronics engineer, or okay, what do you want to specialize in mechatronics engineer? If you know what you want to specialize in mechatronics engineer, and then you would need to focus on these subjects that you take at your last year, so you can progress to the master's degree. So you will have more specific ideas. So let's say you want to do control systems. That's quite specific, but you will know more, inshallah, soon what control system is. So you will have to focus on the control system subject. But as a mechatronics engineer, I'm not the only one who can do control systems in masters. So electronic engineer can do control systems, math, computer science. There are so many subjects that can happen in the masters. So it isn't really the course that you graduate with. It's more of your interest. So during your university time, you will get, let's say, a taste of everything. And then once you graduate and you will you will go through the path that you want to go through, that's a challenge by itself. And through this, you would learn the things that you actually want to do. So, for example, let me try to make an analogy. So, if you want to go for fishing, let's say, there are different type of fish that you can catch in the sea by either the let's say the net or the I don't know, snorkeling or different types of fishing, you know. So you have to know what fish you want to catch, but first you have to know what fishing is. What fishing is, you will learn what fishing is during university. But what fish you want to catch, once you learn fishing, you will know, oh, okay, I want to catch this fish or that fish. So once you know what fish you want to catch, you will know what set of skills that you want to get to be this fisherman. I don't know if this like a clear way to give you the concept, but yeah, so don't stress out about, oh, if I be a mechatronics engineer, I wouldn't be able to do this and this and this. No, first be a mechatronics engineer and you will see. But make sure that you want to be a mechatronics engineer. Make sure that you want to be a fisherman to begin with. And I think this is the question. Abdulrahman, I know that you know what I mean, but did I explain the point clearly?
I think you did. I'm going to build up on it. So basically, don't decide to be a fisherman if you don't like fish to begin with, or you don't like the sea, or you don't.
Yeah.
So choose something that is kind of interesting to you, even if it's like broad, even if it's unknown, even if it's mysterious to you. But if you have some interest in it, you should do it. But if you don't, you should like look for something else. So if you hate biology, if you hate like living stuff, if you hate like studying stuff that is related to human, you shouldn't be a doctor then. You shouldn't, if you hate, for example, math, physics, and chemistry, all of them, you shouldn't decide to go and, oh, I'm going to be an engineer. It's not that simple. You need to find some major that interests you at the beginning. And then afterwards, the major itself is going to unlock a lot of pathways for you in the future. One of them is academically via postgraduate courses like master's and PhD. And others like career, you can go work in industry. So as engineers graduate, we can work in industry, like chemical engineering industry. I can work in labs. I can work in research and development programs that are unrelated to engineering at all. I can work as a consultant in a consulting firm. You have a lot of different career paths that you can choose from. It's not that, oh, I went to, I'm a chemical engineer, then I'm going to be working in production, and that's it. That's the end of line for me. No, I get to choose after I experience those 4 years of studying abroad, those 4 years of studying in university. I get to choose what I want to do afterwards based on my experience. But choosing the major is important. But what you want to do afterward is gonna come to you naturally when you experience it by yourself. You are gonna be the person who decides what you're gonna do.
Yeah, and let me just give you something that you can relate to within high school. So how do I choose my course? So do I do engineering? Do I do natural sciences? Do I do, I don't know, do I study music? So see what you would like now. So back in high school, I had like normal public school teaching. So I had physics, I had math, I had geography, I had like normal public courses, public school courses. So when I chose my course at the beginning, I wanted to be an engineer because what I knew about engineering is that an engineer, either mechanical or chemical, is a person who can adapt to solving problems. And choosing the course would basically make you choose or make you decide what problem that you can solve. So I have this manufacturing problem. So that's the side of chemical maybe and mechanical, let's say. I want to make robots. So, okay, this side is not chemical. This side is electrical, maybe mechanical, maybe mechatronics. So, okay, this is the area. So this narrows my choices now, you know? So once you build up on this information, this will help you choose your course more and more. But don't be worried. So if you had your final two choices, let's say, okay, do I become an electrical engineer or mechanical engineer? So choose the university. So you don't have to choose, just choose the university. Okay, I chose this university. I have these two options. So you can go through the website of the university and see what is the background that you would get within this university. Okay, as a mechanical engineer, I'll have these courses and I'll have this set of skills that would help me solve these problems. So I want to become chemical or mechanical engineer. Or I have my other option as electrical engineer. Okay, this is an electrical engineer. Let's see what an electrical engineer get from this university. And then you will see the set of courses, you will see the set of skills that you would get. And with knowing this information would help you decide. But just don't doubt your skills. Don't doubt yourself. And if you really didn't decide, just choose one of them and go ahead with it. Because I'm sure that you wouldn't regret what you did. Before everything, alhamdulillah, we are Muslims and we know that whatever God decides for us will be the best for us. So inshallah, what you decide will be the best for you, but just have faith and continue and pursue whatever you want. Because you are the one who thought that high school is hard, but you passed it. And you are the one who thinks that university might be hard, but you are the one who can pass it. So just have the courage to face these challenges.
And just to follow up on that point, just be assured that university years are going to be one of the best years of your life, if not the best. And the experience, like if you choose to study abroad or study here in the UAE, we have great options, great universities here as well. Those years are going to shape you as a human being. Those are going to be the years that kind of matter, that is going to set you to your future. Those are going to be the years that change you as a person to the better, let's hope. And those years are very important. So don't just like choose, oh, I want to be in a certain kind of engineer, and then that like you decide that that's it, I'm just going to do it. You need to enjoy the journey. You need to enjoy every single step of the way. It might be challenging at some parts, but you can overcome any challenge that's thrown at you if you study abroad or you study here. Like the journey is more important than the final destination that you arrive at, because while you are at your journey, you might change the final destination. But if you reach the final destination, you can't change the journey. And if you don't enjoy the journey, and if you didn't experience it well and like absorb all of the experiences that were thrown at you, you wouldn't get like the full experience or the full exposure of the academic university life. So enjoying your path to your destination that you chose is more important, because midway you might change your destination and it might be possible for you. So that's something to note as well.
So I would like to switch the topic a bit, but thing is, we see every day Elon Musk and like these tech or space startups everywhere, and in the US or in Canada or in the UK. But like some of us in the United Arab Emirates, like the youth particularly, like they want to start space startups and tech, like global tech startups. Like, what do you recommend, or what do you think youth can achieve this, or can we do that, and how do we do that?
So my point on it, or like my take on it, is that starting a startup or starting something that is kind of I'm not gonna say unrelated to your major, but something that is different on a side, let's say, requires like you requiring a skill. You need to be self-taught. You need to study yourself. You need to learn by yourself. You need to use your free time to read more about that field that you want to start or do a startup in. You need to do stuff that are extra, that are not required, that are not required by your course or in university or whatsoever. Because starting a startup requires some business knowledge, requires some management knowledge, requires some specific knowledge relating to that startup that you want to start. So you need to self-study. You need to read more about that. You need to give it your passion and time in order for it to succeed. That's my point.
Yeah. Mohammed, personally, I've been through the process of making a startup. And what I can tell you is, here in the UAE, especially, starting a startup is a very encouraged thing by the private and the government sector, because we want more of these people who want to continue on such paths such as space or STEM, generally the STEM industry, science, technology, engineering and mathematics. And there are so many different entities that would help you pursue your dream. And if you have, even if it isn't a clear idea, you would find people around you, if you do the research, that would encourage you, help you, and push you in different ways. But you should have the knowledge of how to start a startup, how to face these challenges, because this is something that could be your whole life. There is something that could change your destination as a student, you know? So you have to make your homework, as Abdulrahman said. and you have to be sure. You have to have not a very clear vision, but you should have just a bit of a vision. Let's say, if that's a thing about what you want to do, you know. So you can't say, oh, I want to start a rocket company, just like SpaceX. So you have to know, okay, is this the place to start some such thing? Do we need it here? And am I capable to do it? Do I have the means to start such thing? These are all things that you have to consider. But keep in mind that alhamdulillah, we are living in an environment that encourages all people, especially youth, to start such thing as a startup. So, I mean, if I were you, I'd go for whatever am I thinking of, especially if it is a step. So I'd 100% think about such thing. Even if it's just an idea, I'll keep it with me and I will try to nurture this idea throughout my journey as an engineering student, as a math student, or whatever am I doing at university. And you'll find people around you who are thinking about the same thing and can help you in different ways. So if you are, I don't know, if you want to like start a robots company, you'll find, mechanical, electrical, finance, accounting student who could help you start a company. So I think that the environment especially in universities would help you so much do something. And you can read so many topics about big giant tech company who start just from university. Facebook, I'm trying to come up with names that you guys might relate to. So Facebook, I'm not sure if Uber, one of them. There's so many of them, and there are startups that are coming in the UAE. يعني حتى from Khalifa University, NYU, they're more focused now towards having spin-offs out of the projects that they work on, especially within the research area.
Just to add a note, if you want to like pursue like the startup pathway or career or whatsoever, you need to have the mentality of accepting your failures. Like a failure is not a failure unless you stop trying afterward. You need to have a plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, and you need to have the stamina and the capability to stand up every single time you fall and keep trying, because you can't expect to succeed from your first attempt doing a startup. You need to have the mentality that you might fail 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. It might take you a long time until you succeed. But if you want to do like startups, you need to think about that. Think about the different plans and different ways to approach your goal.
That's awesome. I think startups are the dream of everyone. I think everyone would like create a startup, and that's like return to the like your major topics. And I think Rashed would ask you a question.
Yes. Back to chemical engineering. We talked about the medicine part, and now I have a question.
Let me cut you, Rashed, because from your questions, I see, okay, Mohammad is thinking more towards startup, and he's trying to avoid deciding his future now, but he's like so invested about doing business, starting a startup. And Rashed is like not sure about what he wants to do, but he's thinking about chemical engineering now.
He wants to get the vaccine as soon as possible.
I'm curious about like the different majors that you guys took, and it's awesome like how you see Emirati people achieving many things as you did. MashaAllah, yani, but inshallah, I'm planning on studying astrophysics because it's what I like to do.
Nice.
I'm curious. I'm curious about how Abdulrahman took all of that information and chemical engineering. It's awesome.
I mean, Rashid, that's a great way to think of something. Just getting the information and taking the time to decide on something that as big as choosing a major. And I really understand, and we have all been through, and you are doing the right thing, the thing that we should have done before. So that's great. That's great.
one point to add is something that is great about university. University teaches you how to turn information into knowledge. So what's the difference? Today, in 2021, we have an abundance of information, but there is lack of knowledge. So turning information into useful knowledge that is usable is like one of the biggest challenges that we face nowadays. So university would teach you that skill. How would you get like the information that you're getting and turning them into useful knowledge that you can implement in real life? That's something that university would teach you. And I want to refer to a point that Mohammad said about like working in a plant or a factory to manufacture something, that you would have electrical engineers working with mechanical alongside business, accounting, finance, and whatsoever. So if you imagine any plant, any chemical engineering plant, you wouldn't find only chemical engineers in there. You would see electrical engineers there. You would see mechanical engineers there. You would see chemists working there as well. You would see safety engineers working there, environment engineer. Like you would find a different mixture of different majors in one place. So even if you are an electrical engineer, you might work in a chemical plant, and you would be surrounded by chemical engineers, for example, and you might get experience from that. So if you choose a major, this does not mean this does not limit you to a few workplaces. No, you can work in a lot of places as an engineer, and it's kind of open and broad. And all engineering courses share the same thing as well.
Rashed, did you ask your question? The chemical.
Waiting.
I think all of the questions in my mind have been answered already. Thank you. But there aren't any specific questions from my side, but I'm not sure. All the questions.
Rashed, what is the thing that makes you worry the most about university? And what are you thinking, like when you go to bed and you're thinking about university? Oh, am I graduating now? What am I going to do? So what makes you worry the most? Are they the choices that you are going to make? And what are the choices that makes you worry the most?
What makes me worry the most is back to the first question that I asked in the beginning, like adapting to the changes and like in my life and all the new things that I'm being introduced to in my life, such as meeting new people, studying new things that I like to study about, but I still don't know much about. Also making new friends. There are many things that would make a person like me especially worry, but inshallah, I took the information from you, and everything is gonna be fine. And I'm gonna take everything step by step. Take everything step by step, and inshallah, it will lead me to success. Inshallah.
Okay, let me tell you something, Raj. Just keep in mind that you are not alone through this journey. Just as much as you are worried, the other 100 or 200 people who would be around you, they'll go through the same thing. So I didn't have friends when at day one in university, but the people around me didn't have friends as well. So we were all willing, and we needed someone around us. So we were all had the same need. So we came together to basically close these needs. So I wanted friends, and the people around me wanted friends. So we became friends. I was struggling through university because I didn't have the background about what am I going to do. So I did Mechatronics Engineering, but I thought that people would know more about Mechatronics Engineering than me. But in the contrary, everyone didn't have enough information, and that's why we are at the university. That's why we are there to gain the knowledge, to learn new things. We always don't have enough information about the thing we currently do, but once we go through it, we'll know more step by step. So take it just step by step. Think more about where should I be rather than if I'm there, how would it be? Because you will struggle. Everyone will struggle. but the joy of the journey, the struggles, how Rashed as a person would pass these struggles, because life is all about challenges and how can we face these challenges, and how Rashed is shaped after 5 years would essentially be determined or determined by the challenges that you face. So I think that you're going, and so many people around you, I think, going through the same path. So just don't be worried about it.
I think that I have a great question. Like every day I'm like at home I'm trying to like develop my skills, learn new skills every day, or read new books about different skills. Like you're more experienced than us, and you've been through university and life. And what do you think are the most important skills? Me and Rashed should learn, and the viewers today should learn to for their future.
Well, that's a great question. Abdulrahman can answer you, but to make it easier for the people who would see later. Let's number them. So Abdulrahman, say 4, and I'll say 4 as well that are different, okay?
Okay, so let's make it random. I would say you need to have research skills, because research is very important in university. Taking care of your mental health is very important.
100%.
That's kind of a skill. No one cares about it. Oh, let me just finish university and then I'm gonna rest. I'm just gonna grind for 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks, 1 month or 2, and then I'm just gonna be happy. Let me just do this for like 2 or 3 years, and then I'm just gonna be happy. Let me care about myself more like after 4 years. No, it shouldn't be that way. You should be like, you should care about your mental health alongside your journey in university. That's something very important to mention. The third is time management. It's very important, but you don't need to fall into the trap that, oh, my friend Rashed is doing this in 2 weeks, I should be doing it in 2 weeks at the same time. No, you should learn your own pace, your own speed, and the own tempo you have to do stuff and tasks. So if someone achieves something in 1 week, you shouldn't be stressed that you need to do it in 1 week at the same time. As long as you are within a certain time frame, you should work at your own pace, at your own times that you'd like. Some people are morning people. They like to go to university at like 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. or even 7 a.m. Some people like to pull all-nighters, go to university at 10 p.m. Till dawn. So you need to find your own time, what suits you as a person, what makes you feel comfortable, and keep practicing your time management in that matter. A fourth skill would be let me think of one.
Okay, and I'll go. Maybe you have more, Abdulrahman. The first thing, being open to learn new things. That's a very important skill. Being open to meet new people and having some social skills in your muscle. And being open to new challenges. And these 3 things, you can't take them even for life. And I'm trying to be good at any of them during my life as an employee now, or as a student, when I was a student back at university. And enjoying the journey that I'm going through. These are the 4 things that maybe would help anyone go through any phase of their life, either student, high schooler, or university, an employee, or a researcher. These are the skills that can 100% help you.
I remember the 4th. So I would say networking. Networking is very important. You need to learn that skill. You need to be tolerant about like the people you meet. So you won't meet people that are like you. You will meet different people who are very different than you. And you need to accept that, and you need to acknowledge that they are different and accept them because they are different. You will meet a lot of weird people in university. And you know, those weird people might be your best friends by the end of it. Believe me, if you told me that like the friends I met in university, like 4 years ago, if you told me that you're gonna meet X type of people and be friends with them, I wouldn't believe myself. But you need to be open to network with people, to communicate with people, to befriend the people that are different. You need to learn that people are different, and you need to accept them for that.
So I'm a little concerned about the people who would watch this interview later, because our answers were quite long. So let's summarize the four skills. Abdulrahman, do you want to start again?
So summarizing them, I would say time management, taking care of your mental health, networking, and research skills. Yeah,
and from my side, being open to learn new types of knowledge, being open to meet new people, enjoying the journey that you are going through. You might, by the way, you might think that these are things that you decide on, but I think they are skills and they take some time to learn. And the fourth thing is, I forgot. The fourth thing was because our skills that we talked about, Abdulrahman, were similar, I think.
Yeah,
it's kind of similar. So I think, okay, let me tell you again. Enjoying the journey that you're going through and getting the most out of it. Being open for new knowledge and being a student for life, let's say. Being open to meeting new people. And okay, let's just make it 3.
You mentioned 3 earlier.
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
anything or?
Yeah, I totally agree with those 4 skills, those 7 skills that are very important in university or in life, because they shape who we are after graduating from university. They are immensely important, and everyone should practice on them, even if they are still high schoolers and they still didn't get into university. I think they are very important, and they will lead everyone to success, inshallah.
Inshallah.
So let me ask you a question, Rashed and Mohammed. So what's your main concern at this point? I know that you just finished your exams, I think your second semester exams.
Mabruk, guys.
Thank you. We had projects and quizzes.
One semester till grade 11, grade 12.
Yeah. So what's your main concern at this point, moving forward? Like, are you concerned more about grade 12 at the moment, or what comes next for you, Mohammed and Rashed?
I'm concerned about like every moment of my journey, high school journey. I've been through different interests. Like one time I've been interested in business, and then in physics, and then in biology, and then in medicine. Like I constantly change. So how do I land on something? How do I find my passion?
Okay, let me ask you, do you have to land on one thing?
Oh, yeah, I think, yeah.
You should.
Well, okay, so maybe you should land on something that you want to go through in depth more. And we talked about how you choose this path, but having interest in various things, and maybe that's another skill or okay, it's something that I said, being open to knowledge. So knowing more about business, finance, engineering, and medicine, these are all things that would open different doors for you. So especially if you want to, Mohammed, if you want to start a startup, having a little bit of everything, so knowing something about everything and knowing everything about something is a good thing to combine. So what I did throughout my journey, I tried to focus on my studies, but at the same time, I tried to volunteer in different fields just to get a feeling about what is it to be, let's say, someone who works in a company, someone who works in research, someone who work even as a waiter. I really worked as a waiter. I just wanted to see what is it like to be behind the cashier, and I learned something that would help me as a person, as Muhammad, and as an engineer for the rest of my life. So just to summarize it, knowing something, so you don't have to know everything about something only, and you don't have to know everything about, or to know something about everything. You can combine those two. And I think at this time of life, we are lucky for the amount of sources that we have that we can access to get knowledge from. You can be an engineer and you can be a doctor at the same time, and you will see this more often than you think with these times. And I think landing on something is good, and knowing something about everything is good as well.
You can always land on something and then leave for the other thing as well. So you can land on stuff. That's
exactly.
You need to learn that you can be a physicist, for example, for an instance. You can be a physicist, but at the same time, you have your interests, your hobbies that are related to business, that are related to math, that are related to biology, that are related to different fields. You can have them all with you, but you need to choose your university major, and then you can still have all of the other stuff that interests you. I think school is there to help you choose what interests you the most between those. I had the same feeling. Like in grade 10, I wanted to be a doctor. In grade 11, I wanted to study anthropology. In grade 11, I wanted to be a forensic anthropologist. And then by the end of the year, I decided to go for engineering. And then I had the option of politics, business, and like I had all of those different options. And then at the end, I landed on chemical engineering. Why did I do that? I had the mindset back then that, oh, chemical engineering is related to like various types of energy. So if I want to continue studying, pursue postgraduate studies, for example, I can study nuclear engineering, I can study sustainability and environment and renewable engineering. So all of those pathways are open to me, and I can still revisit some of the stuff that I wanted to do initially. So don't limit yourself to one thing. Don't have the idea that I need to land on one thing and forget about the others. You can still do multiple stuff. You can juggle between multiple stuff at the same time.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. You don't have to. You don't even have to make it a career. You can keep it as a hobby. For example, you can become a doctor and have like be interested. You're interested in business. You can invest in the stock market. It's really fun. You can make different hobbies. And if you're, for example, if you're a doctor and you like astronomy, you can stargaze at night, and at daytime you can do surgery. So it's very, it's broad, and you can do many things with it. And on the other hand, my concerns about as a high school junior, there are many things ahead of me from now, and I have grade 12 next year. And after that, also I have not just university, I have military service at Tajneed, and that can be also challenging. And yeah, I think that many other students also are concerned about these things, not just me.
Abdulrahman, one thing about medicine, there's something that I learned recently. There's this book that I read about this doctor who did English language at the university, and then continued as a doctor. And it's a brain surgeon, I think. Yeah, he was a brain surgeon. So imagine doing medicine after university. So because there are some other universities who allow people with different backgrounds to do like a course of medicine of 4 years that can help you specialize on something in medicine. So you can do, let's say, engineering and then continue in medicine for another 4 years and you graduate as a doctor, or do any type of courses that you want to do and then continue in medicine. So if you decide to do medicine, and maybe someone can confirm to you afterwards, but what I'm sure about is you don't have to start as a doctor to graduate as a doctor. You can do some other courses and then graduate from these courses and then continue as a doctor for some other years.
It's
Actually,
all
one thing, actually, 4 of my uncles are doctors, and that was my dream. Like, as a grade 10 student, I wanted to be a doctor, but like they taught me everything about medicine. Like, there's a postgraduate medicine thing pathway, and there's a undergraduate medicine. But like when I went through grade 11, and I've learned physics, and I've met Rashed, and he taught me about physics and everything. Like, I shifted. Like, I no longer like biology, no longer like medicine. Yeah. So like parents and factors and friends like change everything for you.
your
100%.
environment shapes you. The environment you are in shapes you so much.
So
Okay,
do you wanna
guys.
add anything? Yeah.
Abdulrahman, do you have a final word?
So I'm gonna just give you a final advice that you need to plan right, but don't plan everything. I know this might sound odd or weird, but don't plan everything. There is some kind of joy in going through life unplanned sometimes. So you just need to plan few stuff, the important ones. Don't like dive into details so much because they're gonna come naturally, and you might by planning you might block pathways that will be open if you leave some stuff unplanned. Don't stress out. Any hard time that you believe that you are any hard time that you believe that you are going through is gonna pass. And a great friend once told me when we were at a low point in university that remember last year when we had that other low point and we started laughing about it. So she told me that in a year from now, we are going to look at this moment that we think is very hard, that we think that we can't overcome, and we are going to laugh about it. So you will face a lot of challenges. You just need to stay cool, do your best, because your best is gonna make you succeed. Keep doing your best, not stressing about factors that you can't control. Do whatever you can control. Do the stuff that are controllable. Care about your mental health in university. Meet new friends. Friends are very important. Surround yourself with people who help you be a better version of yourself in university. And choose your major wisely. But after you choose your major, don't regret that, and don't believe that. Don't have the notion or the idea that once you chose this major, you are forever trapped in that field, in that journey, in that major. You can always go out of it. You can always specialize in something else. You can always expand on that and do something that is completely different. We have a lot of examples in our world. We have actors who studied we have an actor who studied in our university. He's very famous. So I think Benedict Cumberbatch, the Doctor Strange actor from Marvel, he studied in university. It's something that he studied in our university. So you can study something and be something else afterwards. So you don't need to stress that. You need to enjoy the journey, because somewhere within that journey, you might end up changing your path. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's a great advice, Abdulrahman. Well, what I can add is always have plan B. Enjoy your present time. Enjoy the challenges that you go through, and keep tomorrow's worries for tomorrow. And remember that you will always have something that you don't know ahead of you, and you will always be a student, either at school, at university, even as an employee. I think we are naturally students for life. So be open to new challenges and have faith within yourself. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I really enjoyed
Thank you so much.
talking
Thank
to
you for having us.
And I really learned so much from you guys. And thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you.
Was
I thank Jagged for having us. Thank you so much.
Thank you to everyone who had part of this, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah, on behalf of Jagged team, we would like to thank you, the Visums, for this opportunity as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Shukran. Shukran.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a nice
Have a nice day.
You too.